talk about gender equality, especially the topic regarding Southeast Asian women's status in the transnational marriage in Taiwan. Actually, that we want to eliminate all forms of discrimination and violence against women. And in order to ensure that women have better access to, have a real decision-making power to in the public and private sector. Let's move on to the current situation. There is an increase in the number of immigrant wives in Taiwan because of Taiwanese women are becoming more independent and are choosing not to get married. And also, that's why Taiwanese men have very difficult to, find a local wife. That's why they have to look for beyond the borders, especially, a male in blue-collar worker and also the farmer have suffered because of the change in the local marriage market. There is statistics, in over 10 years from 2010 to 2020, there were 140,000 number of immigrant wives in Taiwan. And because of the political concern, so the number of immigrant wives in China has decreased year by year, but the number is shifted to the Southeast Asian. Now, the main issues here, that's the transnational marriage between Taiwanese men and Southeast Asian women have been seen as like a common defined marriage or kind of like male order brides. So that's why there are many criticize of those kind of matchmaking agents. Even though in 2017 Taiwanese government already banned it, but there was also 43 such like non-profitable organizations. Also, still kind of like maintain the matching agent because most of them were converted from previous commercial organizations. They just changed the name from the company to association and still remain the same their early business model. That's why that's a big problem. So through the common reasons why Southeast Asian women choose to marry Taiwanese men, there's many research prove that because more of the pricing come from the rural areas, low education, and they want to escape poverty. They also want to share their parent financial burdens. That's why they make decision first for their families and the second for themselves. Many people maybe criticize them because of their decision, but it's so difficult for them to make decisions because their situation. Generally speaking, more of the groups are lower socioeconomies in rural areas, and they also want to find a woman, to find a servant wife for the family, and also want to reproduce their masculinities. That's why there are many issues that women need to face because of cross-border marriage. Here's a solution.
If we cannot change the society status and cannot change the demand of the society, so we try to find out a solution to lead the situation in more appropriate and with the correct way. So like we have many ways to improve this situation is that we can give the high awareness of human rights and freedom to people, and we also support psychological counseling to people who want to marry to a foreigner. languages and culture of their spouse, to avoid the difficulty in understanding languages and culture in the future when they get married, and to support the integrated society especially for women when they come to Taiwan to get married. And we also create some short-term vocational and languages course to people, especially for women when they come to Taiwan to get married. And the next one is that we have some kind of program. Like I would think about a kind of program to connect. If we cannot change this status that the demand of people, male in Taiwan, they have the demand to find a bride in Southeast Asian country. We cannot forbid that. So we can encourage that, but in another way. Like we can assign some reliable agency or organization, and it will be supported by the government, both government of both countries, like non-profitable organization, so they do not have the intention to earn money from both sides. So it could lead to the less risk of low quality marriage in the future if the couple they do not understand each other well. So this game show and talk show stories can help people to make and connect them to understand them better before making marriage decision. So the last but not least, we know that women are born to love and be loved. So we no matter who they are and where they're from. So we would be a part in the society to encourage them to seek for the love and the happiness, even though